Good afternoon, this is Amanda with Columbia Grain here at the Port of Wilma, bringing you this month's grain market update. Here on slide 2, we have our usual soft white wheat export slide. There's not a whole lot to talk about here besides the fact we're about on the same track for exports as we were last year. China is the only real difference in this chart compared to last year. This year, they became a player in the export game much earlier. Next is our soft white wheat balance sheet, which has just about everyone bowled up on keeping some floor under this soft white wheat price for now. As you can see, if we go any lower on soft white wheat supply, we'll have an even tighter carryout. With just our current estimates and no proven yields quite yet, we're already tight on ending stocks. Our hard red spring balance sheet has about the same storyline as soft white wheat and by far the most volatile market recently. With a 15% carryout here in the PNW and low quality wheat starting to roll in throughout the US, I think this crop has the most legs under it. As always, test weight and protein will be a big factor in these prices. Moving on to the hard red wheat balance sheet, by far the bleakest of the three balance sheets, with a much larger carryout than soft white or hard red spring. This carryout is coming in at 64%, showing that there is plenty of supply in this market. Some of this could be moved into feed channels with the high corn prices that we've been seeing, but even then, if that does happen, there's plenty of hard red wheat to go around. Now talking about the bulls and the bears. We're in about the same boat as we were last month, with just a few new subject points to talk about. On the bullish side of things, we're still talking about China. No surprise there, but the question is are they going to keep buying US wheat? I have a hard time believing this with the high prices we've been seeing, but you never know. As discussed before, there's a smaller PNW crop with a tighter carryout. Now the PNW crop doesn't make a huge impact on the world market, but carryout overall has still been tight. Corn and beans seem to keep leading the charts in an upward trend, and that always seems to keep pushing wheat prices up. And weather here in the PNW is still drier than a popcorn fart. Now moving on to the bearer of bad news that nobody wants to hear, but it needs to be said. US wheat is currently the most expensive in the world. With that being said, it's going to be tough to dump wheat with these high prices. As always, there's a story with Russia as well. Their crop seems to always get bigger, like that fishing story where the fish constantly gets bigger, and whether trade believes them or not, time shall tell. The rain they're getting sure does help. The only white wheat business that seems to be trading is traditional business with regular customers such as Japan and the Philippines. And Australia is back in the trade news with ideal planting conditions, expecting another large crop. Moving on to this wild soft white wheat basis we've been seeing with a $1.60 gain since the first of the year, we are seeing historic highs that haven't been reached since 2008. This is your reminder that if you do have an HTA, it's probably a good time to lock in that basis. Lastly, a little recap on the USDA acreage and stocks report. Bean and corn stocks were down, bowling both of these markets up, and wheat came in right around where the trade expected. Looking ahead, if you're interested in locking in some rallies for March or May of 2022, they're currently trading between $6.80 and $7. It's never too early to start looking ahead on these HTAs with futures prices being up so high. We need to continue to watch what China does next, follow the corn and bean markets, keep in mind that Australia will most likely keep actively selling into this market with their next year's crop off to a good start, and if the dry conditions remain, new crop price should stay steady. Early on, the trade range was looking like it should stay between $7.50 and $8 for soft white wheat. But as everyone has seen, we have blown through that guess and are currently trading around $8.50. Once harvest starts up, we should see these prices start to break back unless there is any more non-traditional business that shows up in the trade. Thank you for listening to this month's PNW Market Update with Columbia Grain here at the Port of Wilma.